Since she had agreed to him, there was no need for her to be coy. He had helped her, and she should fulfill her promise. But the car was going further and further out of the way. When it stopped, Yin looked around. There was nothing. It was actually in a rather secluded alley. The rain was too heavy, accompanied by thunder and lightning. Each time thunder cracked across the sky, it seemed to want to shake the earth. All that could be seen was darkness. Only when lightning flashed could she barely see the situation in the alley. It was a very long alley, with no entrance in sight in either direction. There were no streetlights on either side. Abandoned alleys wouldn't be set up with streetlights. Yin didn't know why he had stopped here. The rain was unsettling, just like Jiang Yin's expression at this moment. Jiang Yin turned off the engine. Yin's heart skipped a beat, and her voice trembled slightly when she spoke. Why did you stop here? I thought about it, and Missy was right just now. It's already so late. Going to a hotel really wouldn't be enjoyable, and I wouldn't want to deprive you of sleep all night, Jiang Yin sighed. Since Miss Yu is so skilled, I have to cherish every minute. Let's do it here. Ep4. Jiang Yin released his seatbelt. His tall figure pressed over, and he ran one hand through her long hair and placed it on her face. His voice was low and deep. Right here, let's try Miss Yu's ability to serve men. Here? And no. Yin panicked. The next second, the back of her neck was grasped by the man, and she had no choice but to look directly into the man's cold and mocking eyes. No, Missy was just confidently saying how alluring you are. Isn't this kind of environment more suitable for you? Yin pursed her lips, her eyes flickering slightly. Today, she was wearing a modernized version of a Chinese dress, with a cheongsam-like top, which wrapped around her body, making her figure exquisite, shapely, and alluring. The face in front of her was also charming and moving, yet revealed a bewitching and seductive air beneath its pitifulness. Jiang Yin saw it all, and the light in his eyes gradually deepened. His large hand slowly moved down, wrapped around her slender waist, and chuckled. Having an affair in your fiancé's uncle's car, is that considered exciting? Yin wanted to push him away, but she held back. There was a fire blazing and burning in her heart, but it could only be extinguished by the torrential rain outside the window. She said, if Xiao Yin likes it, then let's do it here, humiliatingly pleasing him. He liked to trample her into the mud, and she couldn't be that flower that stubbornly stood out. One wrong step led to another. He could turn his hand to make clouds or rain. She had a weakness and couldn't afford to provoke him. Jiang Yin's gaze became even colder, but the colder it was, the more obvious and profound the hidden lust in the depths of his eyes became. Miss Yu's buttons are buttoned up very tightly, he said coldly. Yin bit her teeth secretly and straightened up slightly. After a while, she raised her hand and unbuttoned the collar of her dress with trembling fingers. It was a slanted, frog-buttoned opening. After unbuttoning 3 buttons, her fair neck and a large expanse of her collarbones were exposed. The hickey was clearly visible. Afraid of being seen by someone? Jiang Yin reached out, and his slender fingers gently caressed the hickey. The movement seemed gentle, but it made Yin tremble all over. Xiao Yin isn't afraid of causing trouble, but I am, she emphasized, suppressing her anger. Compared to Xiao Yin, I'm just an ant. Anyone can step on me now and prevent me from ever turning over. Ha! Jiang Yin chuckled and leaned closer. What are you afraid of? If you're with me for this year, you don't have to be afraid of anything, anywhere. His thin lips lightly touched the hickey on her neck, gently nibbling, causing her to tremble slightly. Take it off. Yin's scalp tightened, but she still slowly raised her hand and continued to unbutton her clothes. Jiang Yin no longer lingered on her fragrance, but sat back in his seat, maintaining a distance that visually assaulted her. The coolness in the car rushed towards her from all directions as the man moved away. He gazed at her, humiliating her in this way. The buttons on her chest were also unbuttoned. Her outer garment slipped down without weight, and her shoulders and a large expanse of skin were exposed to the air. The light in the car was dim, which made the woman's skin look exceptionally white and smooth. Jiang Yin's gaze unreservedly assessed her beauty, and he ordered in a low voice, continue. Summer clothes or less. Yin's hands trembled even more, but she resigned herself to her fate and unhooked her bra. The entire dress fell. She sat there naked and felt ashamed for a moment and instinctively wrapped her arms around her chest. Put your hands down, Jiang Yin said, lighting a cigarette and playing with it between his fingers, as if he was playing with a woman's body. Yin's arms dropped. She was completely exposed to Jiang Yin's eyes without any concealment. Even if she didn't look up, she could clearly feel the man's gaze moving over every inch of her skin. It was as if he wanted her to actively please him. How long does Xiao Yin want to humiliate me? Yin raised her eyes and looked at him. The man's face was immersed in a large shadow, and the heavy rain was pouring down behind the car window, but the interior was filled with seductive scenery. His eyes were frighteningly deep, and he said playfully, "How has the pleasure of men and women become humiliation? Miss you. Aren't you going to let me see your skills?" A flash of lightning streaked across the sky, illuminating the man's face clearly, with an abyss in his eyes. The thunder rumbled loudly, and Yunyan felt as if something heavy was crushing her heart. She secretly took a deep breath and then gently exhaled. She leaned closer to the man little by little, her slender arms gently wrapped around his neck. In stark contrast to her lack of skill, the man was dressed in a well-tailored suit, and his shirt collar was very straight. She even felt that her arm was hurting. Her red lips moved forward. Slightly cold, she gently pressed it against the man's sensual Adam's apple. The man's Adam's apple moved up and down. Yunyan's actions were actually very unskilled, so unskilled that there was no method at all. Every time she touched the man, she hesitated and tested. When she lightly touched the corner of the man's lips, she clearly felt Jiang Yunyan's breathing become heavier. The next moment, she was completely embraced by him and sat on his lap. The position was quite ambiguous. The man's thighs were firm, and she could feel the bursting strength even through the fabric. Yunyan felt her mind go blank. She lay limply in Jiang Yunyan's arms, not knowing what to do next. With the soft jade in his arms, Jiang Yunyan's breathing was deep. But at this moment, the phone rang. As Jiang Yunyan answered the phone, another bolt of lightning flashed outside the car window, making his expression even more grim. Yunyan watched, feeling uneasy. The rain was too loud, and the voice on the other end of the phone was very low. Yunyan couldn't hear it clearly and didn't want to. But this phone call came at just the right time. She felt that Jiang Yunyan wouldn't be in the mood to continue any further. By the time the call ended, Yunyan had already gotten dressed. The alluring, suggestive atmosphere from moments ago was gone. She sat there with her back straight, the occasional flashes of lightning outside the car window, making her look like an orchid on a dark cliff. She was extreme, embodying both purity and desire. Jiang Yunyan threw his phone to the side, looking at her with a cold smile. "Miss you dresses quickly." Yunyan turned to look at him, her gaze remarkably calm. Does Master Yin want to continue? Although she hadn't heard the contents of the phone call, she could tell from Jiang Yunyan's expression that it must be a tricky matter. Jiang Yunyan stared at her without a word. Just that kind of gaze could make a person uneasy. His eyes seemed cold, yet also like a bottomless abyss. It was frightening because no one could understand what he was thinking. Yunyan walked a tightrope. "Isn't Master Yin in a hurry?" Jiang Yunyan gazed at her, then suddenly smiled. "Come here." Yunyan's breath caught in her throat. Could she have misjudged him? "Come here," Jiang Yunyan commanded. Yunyan took a deep breath and moved a little closer to him. He reached out and wrapped his hand around the back of her neck, pulling her forward until her face was close to his. He chuckled softly. "You need to understand one thing. It's hard to put clothes back on once you've taken them off." Yunyan felt as though she had been slapped. Jiang Yunyan didn't make things difficult for her any further. He let go of her. "Fasten your seatbelt. Let's go." He didn't head to the hotel. This time, Jiang Yunyan took her home. Jiang Yunyan was silent for the entire drive, and Yunyan was left in peace. Once they arrived directly at the underground parking garage and the car stopped, Jiang Yunyan finally spoke. "Wait for my call." Yunyan hummed in agreement. After getting out of the car, Yunyan stood there, intending to wait for Jiang Yunyan's car to leave. Unexpectedly, he lowered the car window and said, "Go upstairs. Send me a message when you're inside." He didn't seem like he was going to leave immediately. It was more like he was watching to make sure she got on the elevator. Yunyan nodded lightly and turned to enter the elevator lobby. His car was parked outside the elevator lobby, separated by a large glass security door. Sure enough, he didn't drive off right away. She didn't hear the car engine until she was inside the elevator. Once inside her apartment, Yunyan drafted a message and sent it. "Arrive home." After quickly washing up and changing into her home clothes, she looked back at her phone and saw that Jiang Yunyan hadn't replied. She tossed her phone aside and collapsed onto the bed, unable to get up. She was too tired. Jiang Yunyan's call was awaited for 3 whole days. Yunyan spent 3 days on tenterhooks, even experiencing auditory hallucinations at times, grabbing her phone to check, only to find no incoming calls. Xiao Min called, describing GZ's recent situation to Yunyan in vivid detail. "She's lost all interest in working. I heard she's been having her assistant watch Jiang Zhe's residence constantly. Yesterday, she threw a tantrum during an advertisement shoot, yelling at the on-site staff and making the advertisers very unhappy." Yunyan hadn't met GZ in person. She didn't care about her entanglements and romantic affairs with Jiang Zhe. Xiaomin didn't talk about GZ the whole time on the phone. She asked about Yunyan's recent situation, especially her relationship with Jiang Yunyan. Xiaomin asked, Has he made things difficult for you? Yunyan was shopping in the supermarket when she answered the phone. Yuan Zhou was with her, standing right beside her, so Yunyan didn't say too much, vaguely saying that everything was fine. Xiao Min, being the shrewd person she was, whispered, "Is someone next to you?" Yunyan hummed in acknowledgement. Zhou. Xiao Min's interest was piqued. She insisted on chatting with Yuan Zhou for a few words. Yunyan handed the phone to Yuan Zhou. He was picking out fruit, all of which Yunyan loved to eat, and looked puzzled. Yunyan said Xiao Min. Yuan Zhou smiled and took the phone. Sister Min. Yunyan continued to pick out fruit, adding them to the bag at his side. It wasn't very clear over the phone, but it seemed that Xiao Min wanted to host a dinner party to ward off bad luck for Yuan Zhou. Yuan Zhou didn't stand on ceremony and readily agreed. Yunyan glanced up at Yuan Zhou. When he smiled, he was exceptionally handsome and refined. No wonder he was sought after by so many women. After the call, Yunyan hesitated slightly before asking him, Zhou, what do you think of Xiao Min? Sister Min. Yuan Zhou put the fruit she had chosen into the shopping cart. She's great. Why? Yunyan tentatively asked again. Don't you think she's pretty? Pretty. Seeing his straightforward answer, Yunyan realized that he most likely hadn't thought about it that way, so she further reminded him, Actually, Xiao Min is the same age as me, only 1 year older than you. Yuan Zhou put down the milk he was holding and looked at Yunyan. She saw the clarity in his eyes and knew immediately that he knew all along. Yuan Zhou finally spoke after a long time, sighing slightly. I see her as an older sister. Actually, Yunyan had anticipated this result. Yuan Zhou had no romantic interest in Xiao Min, but Xiao Min was somewhat interested in Yuan Zhou. Otherwise, she wouldn't have used all the connections she could when he was arrested this time. What kind of person was Xiao Min? She was someone who wouldn't lift a finger without seeing a profit, and always lived truthfully and thoroughly. She didn't easily want to owe anyone a favor, but she always went to great lengths for Yunyan and Yuan Zhou. Yunyan didn't say anything more. Romantic love was all about fate. Yuan Zhou pushed the shopping cart forward a few steps and said softly, No matter how good other women are, none of them are as good as you. Yunyan's hand, which was reaching for vegetables, paused. She turned to look at him and smiled. Even if I'm good, I'm still your sister. You can't spend your whole life with me, can you? He was silent. Yunyan sighed softly. I know you're not in the mood to think about these things right now, and I'm not in a hurry. You're still young. Walking to the fresh meat section, Yunyan wanted to reach for the plum blossoms at the back. Yuan Zhou, being tall and having long arms, helped her reach them, put them in the shopping cart, and said in a low voice, Isn't it good to spend our whole lives like this? Yunyan didn't hear him clearly. Yuan Zhou didn't repeat himself, smiled, and continued with her previous topic. The company is in a mess right now. I really haven't thought carefully about anything else. Yunyan nodded. Is there anything I can do to help? She had minored in finance while she was at school. It was her own private decision. Actually, Jiang Yunyan was right about one thing. Her father really doted on her. Not just her father, but her parents and even Yuan Zhou doted on her. Like her father said, a girl should be a girl, live freely and easily, and shouldn't have any burdens on her shoulders. So her father never asked her to get involved in the company's big and small worries, and let her choose whatever major she loved to study. But Yunyan was still somewhat interested in business, thinking that it would be good to be able to put what she learned to use, so she casually filled out the application for a minor. Naturally, Yuan Zhou didn't want her to get involved in the battlefield. He gently put his arm around her shoulders and said, If you really want to help me, move in and live with me. Yuan Zhou and Yunyan each owned property in their own names. This was the last of the assets that their father had left them. The two properties weren't too far apart, and Yunyan would often go to Yuan Zhou's place after returning to the country, but she never stayed overnight. Be your nanny? Forget it. Yunyan refused outright. But actually, she was afraid that Yuan Zhou would find out about her and Jiang Yunyan. Yuan Zhou sighed softly. Your brother here goes home every day after work and doesn't even have a hot meal to eat. At most, I'll help you make an advance, but moving in is out of the question, Yunyan said. My place is closer to Mom, so I can get there right away if anything happens to her. Besides, are you still a kid? That's your private space. I don't need private space with you, Yuan Zhou said. Don't say childish things, Yunyan urged him. I learned a new dish on a recipe book. Let's hurry up and buy everything so I can go back and make it for you. Today was the weekend, a rare day off. The two of them came out of the supermarket. Yuan Zhou went to the underground parking garage to get the car, and Yunyan went to the coffee shop to buy coffee, waiting outside the mall for Yuan Zhou's car. Just as she was waiting, her phone rang. Yunyan's first reaction was Jiang Yunyan, and she almost dropped the coffee in her hand. She took out her phone and saw a strange number. Hesitantly, she answered the call. The other party was very polite. Is this Miss Yu? Still a coffee shop, but another one in the east of the city, a world away from where Yunyan had gone out to wait for the car. Miss Yu is far more beautiful than I imagined. Had you ever thought about trying debut? Sitting across from Yunyan was GZ, the female lead who had been surrounded by rumors recently. It was her assistant who had just called Yunyan and invited her. This was the first time Yunyan had met GZ face-to-face. Because of Jiangze, Yunyan had seen her dramas before, but only a few glances. Yunyan wasn't surprised or taken aback by her invitation. Although she hadn't interacted with GZ before, Xiaomin knew GZ well and had given her a warning early on. GZ was an impatient person. You could say she was scheming, which was fine in their circle, but she would suffer if she encountered someone really powerful. So Yunyan thought that it was already patient of such a person to only find her today. The coffee came. GZ ordered a pure Americano, and Yunyan ordered a latte. She said, "Miss G is too kind. I can't act, I can't sing, and I've almost lost all my dancing skills. How could I possibly debut?" GZ laughed. "That's right. It's not like anyone can become a star just because they want to." Seeing Yunyan put sugar in her coffee, she added, "Miss you, are you not paying attention to what you eat? Aren't you afraid of getting fat from eating so much sugar? Life is short. Eating sugar is a reward for myself." How could Yunyan not hear her sarcasm? She smiled gently. "Besides, I'm thin. I'm not afraid of eating sugar." Everyone said that there was a wall between celebrities and ordinary people. But there was no such wall between Yunyan and GZ. GZ was beautiful, with a pair of big, twinkling eyes and clear, radiant skin. Her waist was so small that it could probably be blocked by an A4 piece of paper. But when it came to Yunyan's beauty, it was pure, it was sensual, with charm in every movement. Yet her face was pure and clear. She made people think of a fox, so beautiful and so bewitching. She could captivate people and make them willing to fall. Even GZ wanted this kind of purity and desire. There were so many beauties in the world, but it was precious to be able to captivate people and make them willing to submit. GZ heard a hint of non-yielding in Yunyan's words and was naturally angry. She knew about this Miss Yu from the Yu family, and had also heard from others that this woman was beautiful as a flower. But she thought that a bankrupt socialite, no matter how beautiful or noble, must have fallen by now, and would definitely be haggard or even destitute. Otherwise, why would Jiangze have an affair and spend his time outside? However, the moment Yunyan sat down in front of her, GZ had a strong sense of danger. Not only was she not destitute, but she was also radiant and moving. Especially her temperament, which emanated from her bones, noble and intelligent, unlike ordinary women. Just in terms of aura alone, GZ felt that she was strongly suppressing her. So Miss Yu also knows that life is short. Does eating sugar work? Since some things are known to be bitter, it's better to let go than to be in pain. Yunyan thought that it was about time to get to the point. She smiled gently, unhurried and unhurried. "Miss G and I have no friendship, so please speak frankly if you have something to say. There's no need to beat around the bush." GZ didn't plan to be hypocritical any longer. She put down her coffee cup and said, "I've slept with Jiangze." When she said this, she was staring at Yunyan the whole time, wanted to see Yunyan's reaction after hearing this. And Yunyan met her gaze and only said, "Oh," after hearing this. And then, unfazed, GZ was suspicious. "You know," Yunyan smiled, "aren't the rumors flying everywhere? And you've seen my statement, right? Rumors are just rumors," GZ emphasized. "I know that you are engaged, and I'm here today to tell you that I've slept with Jiang Zhe many times. He likes me and is obsessed with me, so you'd better let go completely. I might as well tell you, the day you called him, he was in bed with me, lost in passion." Yunyan curled the corners of her lips slightly, said nothing, and just drank a sip of coffee calmly. "Miss Yu, what do you mean by this? Do you think I'm lying?" Yunyan put down her coffee cup and sighed softly. "I don't care whether you're lying or not, just like I don't care whether you've slept with Jiangze or not. I have nothing to do with Jiangze. I don't now, and I won't in the future. Since you think Jiangze is obsessed with you and likes you, why are you in such a hurry to come to me?" GZ's expression was not very good, and she pursed her lips, her eyes staring at her very unfriendly. Yunyan said, "You came to me because you think Jiangze has me in his heart? It's not that I think, it's that he does have you in his heart. It's because of your existence that he's been hesitant to marry me." GZ gritted her teeth. "You say you have nothing to do with Jiangze. Does he think so too? Miss Yu, you have such good tricks. You're so good at using retreat as a way to control a man." Yunyan sighed. It was really impossible to defend herself. "Then what do you want?" Yunyan said helplessly, her eyes looking at GZ with a hint of pity. GZ hated this kind of look in her eyes and raised her face. "I might as well be frank. I want to marry into the Jiang family. You must make Jiangze give up on you completely. Otherwise, don't blame me for going down with you. Even if it's your own mother, she can't guarantee you'll marry into a wealthy family." GZ's face turned even uglier upon hearing this. "Jiangze isn't completely devoted to you anymore. He's only held back because of the marriage agreement between your two families. Only when you completely withdraw can he give up. Yin found it both laughable and frustrating, but there were some things she couldn't explain to GZ. She said, "Whether you believe it or not, I have absolutely no relationship with Jiang Zhe, and I won't marry him. As for why he's using the marriage agreement as an excuse and delaying marrying you, shouldn't you be asking him instead of me? How can you prove that you have nothing to do with Jiang Zhe?" GZ pressed aggressively. "If you really want to clear your name, then make a clear statement to the public." "What do you mean by making a clear statement?" "Declare that you already have someone you like, that you don't love Jiang Zhe at all." Yin was astonished. This conversation was giving her a headache. "Miss G," she said, forcing back a laugh and feeling helpless, "I've skimmed through your dramas, and even though I didn't watch closely, I saw enough. You mostly play brainless and sweet characters. Why is the difference so big in real life?" "What do you mean?" GZ asked, displeased. "Why should I make a statement? Just to cater to your vanity and sense of glory? Don't be ridiculous. Even if I had someone I liked, I wouldn't sell out my privacy to please you, would I?" Yin said, "If you want to snatch a man, then you need to have the ability to snatch him and be prepared for the possibility of failing. Are you throwing a tantrum at me right now?" GZ's face trembled with anger. "You may be a movie queen, but not everyone has to pamper you and indulge you. Come back to reality, okay? You're just an ordinary person. You don't have the power to control everything. What are you being so arrogant about?" GZ blurted out, fueled by anger. "You're just a poor, fallen heiress. Do you still think you're some kind of golden branch and jade leaf? Why do you have to cling to Jiang Zhe? Let me tell you, the fact that I'm here talking to you today is already being polite. Do you think I meet with just anyone who's not worthy of being seen in public?" Yin wasn't angry, but shook her head helplessly. "You should spend this time throwing tantrums and being hysterical thinking about your own future. With your personality and intelligence, it's too difficult for you to marry into a wealthy family." Talking to her any longer was a waste of time. After saying that, Yin stood up to leave. She had overestimated GZ before. After meeting her, she realized she was just a brainless woman spoiled rotten. How could GZ allow her to leave first? She stood up and grabbed her arm. "I haven't finished speaking. You think you could just leave?" What kind of logic was that? She wasn't even allowed to leave. Yin was just about to tell her to let go when she saw GZ shove the coffee cup in her hand and then immediately grab her hand and throw it upwards. The coffee immediately splashed onto GZ. The next second, a waiter came over with pastries. The cafe wasn't crowded, and the two of them were sitting in a secluded corner, so the whole scene was seen by the waiter. Before it was even dark, a set of photos had shot to the top of the trending searches. The keywords were GZ provoked, drenched, and defenseless. There were also many keywords like hashtag Yin, hashtag fallen heiress actively provokes movie queen to maintain her status, hashtag miss you can't keep up the act anymore, and so on. The two names, GZ and Yin, were prominently displayed at the top of the trending search list. Of course, Jiang Zhe, as the male lead, didn't escape unscathed either. Many netizens were calling out to Jiang Zhe, "You need to choose between them now." GZ's fans were even more fanatical, shouting from afar, "Jiang Zhe, if you're a man, come out and say something. Don't let our GZ suffer such a great injustice." There were a total of 2 photos. They were taken from a hidden angle. They captured the exact moment when GZ was splashed with coffee, and Yin was the one who did it. The 2 photos weren't much different, but for GZ, who had a large fan base, they were a powerful weapon. The fans analyzed all kinds of love and hatred from the 2 photos. That woman, Yin, is too vicious. Look at her expression, so fierce. Our GZ is just too kind. She was completely panicked when she was splashed with coffee. She didn't resist at all. I really want to slap that woman, Yin. So shameless. When the rumors came out, our GZ didn't even respond. She just continued to work as usual. On the other hand, those 2 were jumping up and down, putting on a show. GZ is so wronged. It's true that famous people attract trouble. Is that old woman jealous of GZ's beauty? She even showed up in person to find her. What does it have to do with GZ if she can't keep her man? And so on. The comments were almost completely one-sided, overwhelming Yin like a flood. The language was as harsh as could be. Soon, Yin's home address and phone number were doxed. GZ's fans spontaneously rushed to Yin's apartment building, holding up various banners of condemnation, righteously demanding justice for their star, faster than even the paparazzi. Her phone was also constantly receiving abusive messages and personal attacks. More than an hour after the incident broke out, GZ appeared. She posted a video. In the video, she was at a work site, looking slightly haggard. But she smiled as she filmed the video, generally telling her fans that she was fine, that she was okay, and reiterating her relationship with Jiang Zhe, saying that Indeed, as Mr. Jiangze had previously stated, they were just acquaintances who had met once. She didn't know why Miss Yu had misunderstood. Perhaps it was due to the previous rumors, and it was also her fault for not taking it seriously and responding immediately, which caused Miss Yu's misunderstanding. Here, she solemnly apologized to Miss Yu, and, in the video, she once again assured Miss Yu that she really had no relationship with Mr. Jiangze. She also repeatedly told her fans not to be impulsive. She could understand Miss Yu's impulsiveness and feelings. She would not pursue responsibility for this matter, and asked her fans to focus on supporting her work and not to disturb Miss Yu. As soon as the video came out, it was a tsunami that Wai Yunyan was even more crucified, that GZ's kindness and generosity highlighted Yunyan's selfishness and insidiousness. Some netizens even dug up the Yu family's precarious situation, saying that no wonder she was so worried about Jiang Ze changing his mind. It's good to have a big tree to lean on. The Jiang family is the Yu family's lifeline. Once she can't marry into the Jiang family, the Yu family will be completely finished. They also directly curse the Yu siblings as bloodsuckers. In short, all kinds of complimentary words emerged endlessly. While the internet was in an uproar, Yunyan was putting the celery and cashew nuts on the table. This was the last dish. After putting it on the table, she called Yuanzhou to eat. Yuanzhou liked things neat and tidy. Every time Yunyan finished cooking, he had to clean up the kitchen first to feel comfortable that he was a little slower today. It wasn't until he heard Yunyan calling him that he put away his phone, and then went to the study to make a phone call before coming out to wash his hands and eat. Yunyan had made a table full of dishes. Her skills weren't particularly good, but she had put her heart into it. She had learned each and every dish from a recipe, and they looked quite presentable. Yuanzhou sighed, saying that the girl who used to never lift a finger to do housework was now able to cook. Soon I won't let you do these things anymore. Yuanzhou felt sorry for her. Although the Yu family was currently struggling, and the remaining projects were progressing with difficulty, Yuanzhou didn't want to give up the Yu family's business. He had to find a way to continue. Yunyan was broad-minded and optimistic. She said with a smile, "Life is full of ups and downs. It's important to live well in the present. Also, these are all things I like to do. I don't find it hard. Who would feel it hard to cook for their family?" Yuanzhou felt warm inside. "Let's eat." Yunyan handed him chopsticks and added casually, "Oh, right, you have to remind the nursing home to keep an eye on things and not let those people disturb Mom." Yuanzhou was stunned. "You know." Yunyan smiled. "It's all over the internet. How could I not know? I even got the top spot on the trending list." "What exactly happened?" Yuanzhou asked for details when he saw that she had brought it up. Yuanzhou had just been about to start the engine when he received Yunyan's call, telling him that she had something urgent to do and that he should go home first. By the time he drove out of the garage, Yunyan was long gone. After seeing the trending searches, he learned that she had met with GZ, that he didn't need to think about it to know it was related to Jiangze. And it was. Seeing the abuse online, Yuanzhou was both angry and distressed. But seeing that Yunyan seemed unaffected, he thought she was unaware of the situation. He had already prepared himself to try to keep her from going out in the next few days and to persuade her to stay with him tonight. Yunyan was much calmer than he had expected. She talked about it, as if she were an outsider. She picked up a piece of food for him and put it in his bowl. "Do you think I would splash her?" "Of course not," Yuanzhou said without thinking. "Then that's that," Yunyan said briefly. Seeing her like this, Yuanzhou wasn't worried anymore. He said softly, "Don't worry. No reporters can find me here. Even if they do, they can't get in. Stay with me for a few days. You don't have to worry about Mom either. I just called and told the nursing home." Yunyan hummed in agreement. "I'll go see Mom after this is over. I'll go with you." Yunyan smiled. "Do you have time? I feel like you have to squeeze in time, even to eat a meal now." "How can I not have time to see Mom?" Yuanzhou said gently. "Also, you see, I didn't even answer many calls today. I'm focusing on eating the food you made." "Okay, you're filial." "Filial?" Yuanzhou raised an eyebrow. "To you?" "To Mom." Yunyan laughed. "To me too." Yuanzhou gave her a bowl of soup. "It's not called filial piety to you. It's called affection." Yunyan took the soup and chuckled. "If you use that mouth of yours on girls outside, I don't know how many girlfriends you'd have." Yuanzhou smiled, but didn't say anything. Just then, there were several loud bangs on the door, quite urgent. Yunyan didn't even have to look to know who it was. It must be Xiao Min. Yuanzhou got up and opened the door. It was indeed Xiao Min. Seeing that they were both there, she breathed a sigh of relief. "Don't you know the door code? Why are you knocking?" Yuanzhou took out a pair of slippers for her. "It's okay for me to keep an eye on your house when it's empty, but now that you're back, I can't just open the door and barge in. What if you weren't wearing any clothes?" Xiao Min said frankly, changed her slippers quickly, and shoved her handbag into Yuanzhou's arms. "Where's your sister?" Yuanzhou pointed his chin inward. "She's eating in the dining room." "Have you eaten? Try Yunyan's cooking. You still have a mind to eat," Xiao Min said as she entered the dining room. Wai Yuanzhou put Xiao Min's handbag away and followed her in. He heard Xiao Min ask Yunyan, "Is your phone turned off?" Yun Yan said the battery died. Was it drained by all the people cursing you? Xiao Min asked. Yun Yan didn't hide anything and hummed in agreement. That's really something. A dignified heiress, bullied like this by an actress. Yun Yan, I've never seen you so useless. Xiao Min's words weren't very polite. We don't say actress anymore. We have to say star. Yun Yan emphasized. Also, are you going to eat or not? Zhou, and I just started. You made it. Otherwise, Yun Yan gestured. It doesn't look like much, but it tastes pretty good. Xiao Min looked over the table and curled her lip. I'm afraid of going to the hospital. It's not like I haven't eaten your cooking before. I had diarrhea for 2 days. Yun Yan didn't mind what she said and got up to get her a bowl and chopsticks and filled it with soup. That's because you ate cold food at the party before. What does that have to do with the food I cooked? You should be glad you ate something I made beforehand, or you wouldn't have had the strength to have diarrhea. Twisted logic, Xiao Min said, but she still sat down to eat together. Yuanzhou said with a smile. Min Jia, you should try it. She's improved a lot now. Xiao Min held the chopsticks in her hand, but she wasn't in the mood to eat anything. Let's talk business first. Yin Yin, GZ must have taken the initiative to contact you, right? Yeah. Yun Yan's business was eating. She's a drama queen with lots of tricks up her sleeve. Why did you even see her? Xiao Min sighed. Yun Yan understood Xiao Min. It wasn't that she looked down on all actors and stars. She just looked down on GZ. She thought this woman's behavior was too ugly. But so what if it was ugly? She had the capital to be recognized. The higher the water, the higher the boat. That's the principle. Yun Yan smiled. I want to see how dramatic she could be. You're really? Xiao Min poked her head. You have nothing better to do. Every actor in the entire entertainment industry who has worked with her wishes they could avoid her, but you're good. She wants to see you, and you just go? Are you stupid? Yun Yan just smiled and didn't say anything. Are you so stupid you can't even talk? Xiao Min sighed. Don't go home for now. Your house is surrounded like a fortress. Also, what do you need me to do? I'm better at controlling public opinion than you are. Don't control it. What's the point of controlling it? Yun Yan was eating very seriously, thinking the soup was good and planning to get another bowl. Yuanzhou took her bowl and filled it for her and put it in front of her. Public opinion is like a flood. You can only dredge it, not block it. Yun Yan said softly, if you delete comments and control the narrative, blocking the mouths of netizens and not letting people speak, it may seem peaceful on the surface, but actually there are undercurrents and things will get worse. Some things can't be solved by not letting people talk about them. You're thinking too simply. Do you really think it's so easy to dredge public opinion? If it gets out of control, people will die. Xiao Min disagreed with her view. How many people have committed suicide because they couldn't withstand the pressure of public opinion? People always say that those watching the show don't mind it being a big deal. Is a scandal's main subject still worried that the gossip isn't swirling enough? Seeing Xiao Min and Yuanzhou staring at her, Yun Yan assured them, don't worry, I'm definitely not crazy. If she's not crazy, then let the gossip come even more fiercely. Ever heard the saying that the higher you climb, the harder you fall? By 8 o'clock in the evening, the topic was almost burning purple hot, and Yun Yan had become the target of online criticism. GZ's fans strongly condemned her, demanding that Yun Yan must appear and apologize to GZ, or they would pursue her legal responsibility. They also fiercely scolded Yun Yan for daring to do it, but not admitting it, hiding in the dark like a turtle with its head in its shell. Yuanzhou was also affected, receiving a lot of harassing phone calls. He couldn't turn off his phone, so every time he answered, he would hang up as soon as he heard the other end start to curse. Yun Yan chatted with Xiao Min privately for half an hour. After Xiao Min left, Yun Yan saw Yuanzhou hang up another call and apologized to him for implicating him. Yuanzhou's gaze was gentle. What nonsense are you talking about? The phone rang again. This time, Yuanzhou didn't hang up, but his tone cooled down as he asked the other end, what else is there to say? Yun Yan was curled up on the sofa, reading a book. After hearing this, she looked up at Yuanzhou, understanding more or less. She reached out to him, indicating that he should give her the phone. Yuanzhou didn't really want to give her the phone, but seeing how insistent she was, he had no choice but to do so. She had already guessed that it would be Jiangze calling, so she wasn't surprised when she heard him call Yin Yin from the other end. She asked him in a very calm tone, what's the matter? Jiangze was a little confused by her question. Don't you know what's happening online? I know, Yin Yin said indifferently. That's why I'm asking what you're calling for. Jiangze was quite gentle on the other end. Are you at Zhuanzhou's place? I'll come pick you up. He had found out Zhuanzhou's phone number, but he couldn't find out Zhuanzhou's specific address. And Yun Yan didn't give him a chance to find it, saying lightly, say what you need to say on the phone. If there's nothing, I'll hang up. Don't hang up, Jiangze quickly said, giving up when he saw that she really wasn't going to meet him. Yin Yin, don't be afraid of what's happening online. I'll make a statement immediately to protect your reputation. I won't let GZ slander you. After saying this, Jiangze paused for a few seconds before adding, But actually, I'm quite happy that you were able to confront GZ. Whether you splashed her or not, it shows that you still have me in your heart. Yunyan smiled. Yuanzhou, sitting at the bar, glanced at Yunyan. She got up and walked to the window. The arched, floor-to-ceiling windows offered a very wide view. Even at night, all that could be seen was lush greenery. The landscaping here was a small forest concept, with a large distance between individual houses, so it was a living condition where the houses were surrounded by forests. It was like a secluded place, isolated from the world. When the wind blew, you could hear the rustling of the trees. Jiangze, is this the condition before you make a statement? Yunyan stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, making her look very small, as if she was swallowed up by the vast night and trees outside the window. Yuanzhou silently watched her back, then poured himself a glass of wine and took a sip. Jiangze, you've misunderstood me. As long as you're still my fiancé, I'll always think of you. Yunyan chuckled. So you're using the excuse of doing it for my own good to make me go back on my previous decision? Nian, I don't know what you're arguing with me about. Your family is already in that state. Why don't you find a big tree to lean on? Of course, what I'm saying doesn't sound good, but it's the truth. Yes, I did some foolish things, but I only have you in my heart, and I only want you to come back to my side. Jiangze said with deep affection. As long as you nod, we'll get married right away. Don't worry, as long as my grandmother agrees to our marriage, my parents definitely won't dare to have any objections. Yunyan looked out the window. The moonlight seemed so quiet, making the noise in her ears even more obtrusive. Help me clear my name. Then what about GZ? Even a brief affair has feelings. Young Master Jiang is being too heartless. Jiangze was silent for a long time on the other end. I admit I was temporarily hot-headed. Actually, that GZ took the initiative, and I just went with the flow. To put it bluntly, it was a mutually beneficial relationship. People like her add a price for eating and sleeping with them. She's just after awards and fame. How could I possibly be interested in a woman like that? What a pity, Yunyan sighed. A pity. Pity for GZ. She was working so hard to get a long-term meal ticket. Yunyan said sarcastically, but Jiangze, your marriage and extramarital affairs are both built on transactions. Isn't that a loss? What do you mean? I'll be blunt with you. It's a political marriage, an exchange of commercial interests. You say GZ is after fame, then aren't I after wealth and power? There's no difference in essence. If the Yu family hadn't had an accident, I would be willing to do this, but now, with unequal benefits, I'm not willing to do it anymore. Bowing her head to everything and retreating step by step was not what she wanted. She didn't want to be trapped in a cage for the rest of her life, watching people's faces and acting accordingly. How can you be the same as her? Jiangze, I'm not willing, Yunyan said directly. If you want to help, then help. If you don't want to help, I won't beg you. But this matter started because of you, so you should take care of yourself. Just as she was about to hang up, she heard Jiangze's tone turn cold. Yunyan, what are you being so arrogant about? Yunyan listened quietly. If I stand on GZ's side at this time, you'll be completely ruined. Jiangze threatened. Then why did you call me? Yunyan said dismissively. But do whatever you want, as long as you're happy. She was tired and exhausted, too lazy to say anything more to him, and hung up the phone directly. After that, she turned around, her forehead pressed against the window glass, and sighed softly. It wasn't hard to guess what Jiangze's plan was at this point. With the scandal raging, he could remain carefree. Even if he was really involved, it wouldn't be a loss for a man, unless he was completely involved and unable to protect himself. The purpose of this phone call was simply to tell her that he would only help her if she retracted her decision to break off the engagement. Yuanzhou put down his wine glass and went forward, walking behind her, raising his hand and gently kneading her shoulders and neck. He had a good amount of strength, which helped to ease her tense emotions. He understood her. She looked relaxed on the surface, but her body was very stiff, indicating that her emotions were building up little by little, eventually leading to illness. I'm fine. She knew he was worried. Jiangze hasn't fallen out with you yet, which means he hasn't given up. The hesitant attitude of his parents before led to his wavering thoughts. Now the Jiang family's power struggle is fierce, and Jiang Yintai doesn't dare to gamble easily, so it's safest to follow Jiang's grandfather's will. Yuanzhou pulled her to the sofa to sit down. In the end, you will definitely have to pull out the old lady Jiang. Speaking of this, he pointed out the key point, and old lady Jiang is happy to do so. Old lady Jiang truly liked Yunyan. The old lady didn't have any utilitarian intentions, and her feelings for Yunyan were genuine. Only with the marriage of the grandchildren could the group have real power. This was a rule set by Jiang's grandfather. They say wealth doesn't last 3 generations. Jiang's grandfather did this in the hope that the Jiang family could continue. The grandchildren grew up with a silver spoon in their mouths. Growing up wasn't anything, but only when they got married and became husbands and fathers could they understand things, act with restraint, and be truly called growth. Only then would the parents relinquish power. It was also to guard against unforeseen circumstances. Yuanzhou took her hand and said gently, "Don't worry, my projects here are all being finalized and transferred. When the time is right, we'll withdraw. I won't let you become a sacrifice in the Jiang family's power struggle." Yunyan stared at his hand, which was slender and strong. Yuanzhou had always had a plan when doing things since he was a child, and she believed he had the ability to do so. Dad said, "Who is he referring to when he says the Jiang family will change sooner or later?" She looked up at him. "Jiang Yinyan?" He didn't say it explicitly, but the current situation is indeed unstable in the Jiang family. Yuanzhou said softly, "If there was no Jiang Yinyan, everything in the Jiang family would properly belong to the eldest son Jiang Yintai, with the second son sharing the benefits. Now, not only has another person come out, but he has also seized a lot of power from Jiang Yintai. Do you think Jiang Yintai can be willing?" Yuanzhou leaned on the sofa, and I heard that the shares of MW Hotel have been unstable recently, with signs of being acquired. That's Jiang Yintai's cake. I suspect Jiang Yinyan is making a move. MW Hotel? Yunyan was surprised. Is it all the high-end hotels under MW? Yuanzhou nodded. Yunyan gasped. The Jiang family had investments in the hotel industry, and they had invested a lot. Among them, the MW line of hotels was the most profitable. The high-end hotels combined with Michelin restaurants had several branches in China, and they cooperated with foreign capital abroad. But in reality, the Jiang family was still the controlling shareholder behind the scenes. If the MW hotel line was moved, then Jiang Yintai would be greatly hurt. What about the future? Having his cake moved, it was hard to guarantee that he wouldn't fight back under the pretext of cleaning up the family. Her father had a pair of poisonous eyes, seeing Jiang Yinyan's restlessness and the Jiang family's undercurrents. In short, stay as far away from the Jiang family as possible, Yuanzhou suggested. Then he turned to look at her. Especially Jiang Yinyan, you must always remember that his true identity is a member of the Jiang family, not you families at Yin anymore. Yunyan was having a hard time breathing and nodded lightly. I can tell the difference, don't worry. The next day, instead of waiting for Jiang Zhe's kind statement, a video and a recording were thrown out of thin air, like nuclear weapons, detonating in the already hot search area. Needless to say, it shocked the entire internet again. The video and recording were released around noon, which was convenient for the majority of netizens to enjoy during their tea breaks and after meals, and even allowed people who were awkwardly chatting during blind dates to find common ground. The video was surveillance footage. A woman in a white dress stood in front of the mall entrance, holding a coffee in one hand, and answered the phone when she heard it ring. In the description below this video, the phone number and owner's name of the phone that the woman in the white dress was talking to were clearly displayed. The recording was even more explosive. It was a conversation between two women. Jiang Zhe and I have slept together many times. He likes me, and he's obsessed with me. What do you want? I might as well be frank. I want to marry into the Jiang family. You must make Jiang Zhe lose heart in you. Otherwise, don't blame me for going down with you. Jiang Zhe and I have nothing to do with each other. I won't marry him. As for why he's using the engagement as a guise and hasn't mentioned marrying you, shouldn't you ask him instead of asking me? How can you prove that you have nothing to do with Jiang Zhe? If you really want to clear your name, then you should make a clear statement to the public. What do you mean by making a clear statement? Declare that you already have someone you like, and you don't love Jiang Zhe at all. You haven't finished speaking yet. Do you want to leave? The sound of splashing water. Then there was the gasping of a waiter. Miss you, aren't you going too far? Have I offended you? After a long time? GZ, isn't it childish to act out this scene? Whether it's childish or not depends on how the outside world sees it. Yunyan, you're no match for me. It was quickly revealed. The woman in the white dress in the video was Yunyan, and the owner of the number that called her was GZ's assistant. From the video, it could be seen that GZ had taken the initiative to contact Yunyan. The recording was even clearer. Even passers-by could hear the voices of the speakers, one of whom was GZ, and the other was undoubtedly Yunyan. In the recording, GZ was aggressive, and after the sound of splashing coffee, she was obviously pretending to be innocent. On the contrary, Yunyan's voice was always calm. Some netizens commented that the Yu family's eldest daughter was even very helpless. Because at the very end of the recording there was a sentence. Miss G, I've finished watching your show too. Can I leave now? First, there was a heartbreaking condemnation, and then there was a big reversal, and the internet was extremely lively. Netizens began to wake up and realize that the movie queen really lived up to her name and could write, direct, and perform such a big media event. The voices began to lean towards Yunyan, and for a time, everyone said she was too innocent and condemned GZ's bad behavior. But there were also stubborn ones. They claimed that these so-called evidences were all deliberately slandering GZ. It was obvious that the Yu family's daughter had been planning a counterattack all night. Otherwise, if they had recordings and videos, why didn't they take them out immediately? They seriously suspected the authenticity of the video and recording. But this whitewash was quickly refuted. First, the content of the phone call was adjusted by a master, and then it was confirmed by the telecommunications company, clearly seeing that it was indeed GZ's assistant who took the initiative to call Yunyan to invite her. Then there was the waiter at the coffee shop, who said that because they were celebrities, he couldn't help but take a few more glances. He did hear GZ's emotions were quite excited, and mentioned the words sleeping together and rich family several times. The only eyewitness in the coffee shop was a customer. She said that she originally didn't want to interfere in this matter, and she was still a fan of GZ. After seeing the hot search, she didn't participate in the topic discussion because she knew the truth that day, so she wanted to unfollow silently. But the event was getting worse and worse, and she felt more and more uneasy. She felt that Yunyan was very innocent and didn't want the majority of netizens to be deceived by GZ anymore. She secretly filmed a video, not wanting it to be the scene of the coffee being splashed. In the video, you can see that GZ grabbed Yunyan's hand, put the coffee cup in Yunyan's hand, and splashed it backwards. Then the waiter came in, gasped, and wanted to help GZ wipe her clothes, but GZ refused. Throughout the entire process, Yunyan was very calm, just like she was watching GZ act. The plot twist couldn't be more reversed. The people who were wildly criticizing earlier are now getting slapped in the face harder than ever. It's the ceiling of entertainment scandals. Not only is the plot full of twists and turns, but the characters' reputations are also collapsing again and again. The most collapsed reputation belongs to GZ, because Yunyan doesn't have much of a reputation to begin with. A dignified actress, not only stealing someone else's love, but also setting up schemes to frame the innocent, using her vast online influence to cyberbully others, and even ridiculously offering to teach the other party how to issue a statement. Trampling on other people's rights and even dignity without leaving any room for maneuver. The nature of the matter is extremely bad. And GZ's fans also fell silent for a while. More like they were holding back countless big moves, but were suddenly deflated before they could exert any force, feeling extremely aggrieved. Before, with the filter of fandom, many fans could convince themselves and even had the confidence to criticize online, saying that even if the Jiang family's young master had a girlfriend, it was only in accordance with the wishes of the elders in the family, and there was no real love. Meeting GZ was the real meeting of love, and it was that Yu family's fallen heiress who was clinging to the Jiang family's young master and refused to let go, and was also jealous and actively provoked GZ. In their opinion, one is a well-known young master in the capital circle, and the other is a dazzling actress in the entertainment circle. The identities of these two people and their passionate love affair have always been considered a beautiful story. They couldn't bear to see their beloved GZ's love story end in tragedy, so they were determined to fight for their idol's greatest happiness and clear away obstacles. But no matter how strong the filter is, there must ultimately be morality. These repeated reversals have severely traumatized the fans. They can hardly believe that the voice in the recording and the ugly face in the video are the person they have been supporting day and night. Even more shocking news followed. Suddenly, a staff member revealed that GZ's external image was just a facade. In reality, anyone who had contact with her knew that she was extremely narcissistic and threw her weight around. She was extremely difficult to get along with at work, disrespectful to veteran actors on set, and often late for filming. There were also specific examples. GZ doesn't endure any hardship when filming. There was a scene where she had to wade through water, but it was just water at room temperature. She refused to walk from one end of the pool to the other, saying that she had just done her toenails and foot care and couldn't wade through water, so she insisted on using a body double. But she made the body double walk on ice and walked back and forth dozens of times. Even the director said that walking in the water was fine and they could do post-processing, but GZ refused, saying that she wanted a realistic effect. In the end, the body double's feet were almost ruined, and she was sent to the hospital that night. The staff member's revelation was like tearing open a hole, and more people started to reveal information. The most exaggerated thing is, do you know what? She actively clung to that young master Jiang, and when she failed, she took it out on our staff. She stood us up several times when filming commercials. When she finally came to the set to film, she put on a stinky face for us. Please, we are the client, the ones paying the money. If you don't want to earn this money, don't sign the contract. From scheming in love to being unprofessional, from being morally corrupt to having no professional ethics, an actress fell in just a few hours. Many onlookers discussed, saying that after years of hard work, when she was about to stand at the pinnacle of success, she didn't cherish her reputation, causing all her efforts to be ruined. Before evening, many brands that GZ endorsed expressed their position, terminating their cooperation with GZ and no longer considering cooperating with her in the future. GZ's already broadcast dramas were taken down, and dramas that were about to be released were withdrawn. It was also revealed that the plays that had already been prepared were also temporarily canceled and replaced with other actors. By night, GZ's reputation had completely collapsed, and her studio issued 2 statements within one day. The earliest one was when the recording was first exposed. The statement righteously stated that it would pursue the legal responsibility of the publisher and malicious disseminators of the recording. The second one was to deeply and sincerely whitewash GZ, telling the public that GZ had always been diligent and dedicated since her debut regarding her acting careers or life, and even persevered through injuries in acting, saying that she cherished her reputation, her fans, and respected her seniors in the industry. But these 2 statements were quietly deleted after many reversals of evidence and the successive defection of colleagues. With the disappearance of the statement, it also indicated GZ's difficult future. While the internet was abuzz, Yoon Yin was helping Yu Wanzhou review financial reports of the company. Now that the company's size has been reduced, many things have to be done personally. Yu Wanzhou intends to withdraw from the North China market, and the preliminary work of sorting things out is very complicated. And the fact that he was taken away by the police and investigated has also spread in the industry. The projects that had been negotiated and could follow the relocation cooperation were also watching, and the contract was not signed for a long time. When Yu Wanzhou returned to the office after the meeting, he saw Yoon Yin on the phone. The hysterical voice on the other end could be heard without turning on the speakerphone. Yoon Yin, you're really something. You're so insidious and vicious. Do you think you can kill me? I'm telling you, as long as I'm not dead, I'll have a chance to make a comeback. I'll make you wish you were dead. Yoon Yin listened quietly to the roar on the other end of the phone, and then said unhurriedly, GZ, I can understand your situation. I'll give you a piece of sincere advice. Get some rest. Taking care of your mental health is more important than anything else. Why are you pretending to be a good person? Don't think I don't know that you're behind all of this. Yoon Yin didn't waste any more words with her and directly hung up the phone. The other end was still unrelenting and continued to call her. This time, she didn't even answer and directly blacklisted the phone number. Yu Wanzhou placed the document on the desk, his eyebrows showing some fatigue. The look in his eyes that fell on Yoon Yin's face was gentle. Seeing her blacklist the person, Yu Wanzhou's eyes smiled, and the fatigue between his eyebrows was swept away. I was worried that you would suffer a loss, and I was planning to pull Jiang Zhe out to sacrifice. It seems I was overthinking. The public opinion evaporated overnight. Although Yoon Yin kept telling him to be patient, he still couldn't sit still. Yoon Yin was too important in his heart, and he was afraid that she would be hurt in this battle of public opinion. So he had prepared a backup plan. The backup plan was Jiang Zhe. When necessary, he would put Jiang Zhe in the public eye to be judged, thereby shifting the attention of public opinion. Unexpectedly, things took a heaven-defying turn. You solved such a tricky situation yourself, Yoon Yin. You make me feel very frustrated, Yu Wanzhou said in a tone that was half joking and half serious. Yoon Yin sighed. Yu Wanzhou, I've been looking at financial reports in your office for a full 4 or 5 hours. Even if I haven't made any contributions, I've still put in the effort, right? You keep calling me Yoon Yin. Yoon Yin, do you have any conscience? Would you lose a piece of meat if you call me sister? This Zhou is good in every way, but he's just very stubborn. He never wants to call her sister. He's very impolite. He wasn't like this when he was a child. He was so well-behaved when he was a child, and even a little shy, introverted, and didn't like to talk. He only liked to chat with her. When Zhou was a child, he was like a clinging bug and always liked to follow her around, calling sister, sister all day long. When she got annoyed, she would send him home, threatening him not to follow her, and then Zhou would cry. Zhou loved to cry. As long as she ignored him, he would cry. Annoyed, Yoon Yin would scold him. You're a boy. If you cry so much, how will you take care of your family in the future? Little Zhou had a reason. I'm crying now, but I won't cry when I grow up. I can protect dad, mom, and sister. Yoon Yin was naughty when she was a child, and Zhou was obedient. Every time Yoon Yin got into trouble, Zhou would take the initiative to stand up and say, I caused the trouble. It has nothing to do with my sister. She didn't know when Zhou started to rebel. Yoon Yin vaguely only remembered that around high school, Yu Wanzhou started to stop calling her sister properly and always called her Yoon Yin. Yoon Yin. Yoon Yin was unhappy, and Yu Wanzhou would say, You're only 1 year older than me. What's the big deal? He was quite disdainful. Yoon Yin hit him on the head. Even if I'm only 1 day older than you, you still have to call me sister. He would call her sister, but only on specific occasions. Now, it's good if he even calls her that. Yoon Yin sometimes really missed Zhou when he was a child, calling her sister all day long in a clingy way. Yu Wanzhou poured her a cup of coffee, leaned against the desk, took the financial report from her hand, and chuckled. You hid things from me and made me worry. Is that something a sister should do? Yin was really dizzy from looking at the financial reports. When she heard him say this, the first thought that came to mind was Jiang Yin's matter, and her heart was agitated. Just as she was at a loss, she heard Yuanzhou say, "This time, we owe sister Min a big favor. GZ has a lot of capital behind her, so it was quite risky for her to plan these things for you." Yin realized that he was talking about the online affairs, and her heart relaxed. Yuanzhou raised his hand and ruffled her hair. "You're good. You even know to make recordings? All's fair in war. I still have some business sense," Yin sighed. The other party came aggressively, and they didn't look for me earlier or later, but they looked for me when Jiang Zhe was hesitant to express his position. The intention was obvious. From the moment she stepped into the cafe, she started recording to prepare for any unexpected events. As expected, she couldn't escape her deduction. GZ really found a good angle for her assistant to take candid photos. She played dirty tricks, and Yin didn't hold back either. Don't forget what Xiaomin does. Creating storms online is her strength, especially when it comes to the entertainment industry. Yesterday, Yin left Xiaomin behind and specially talked about this matter. What time to counterattack? What time to start trending topics? What time to attack the heart? Yin provided the recording. GZ, through her vast connections, got the call content and the surveillance data before the call. In addition, GZ also found the waiter at that cafe to understand the situation. He didn't make a false statement, but just let him tell the truth. And the truth was that the waiter didn't actually see Yin pour coffee on GZ. When he came in, he only saw coffee all over GZ's clothes. After GZ left, her assistant privately approached the waiter. The meaning wasn't explicitly stated, but it was quite clear. It was roughly that their GZ had suffered a great grievance today. Once this matter spread, the young man must testify for GZ, and so on. There was a suspicion of guidance. But neither Yin nor Xiaomin could find direct evidence that GZ pulled Yin's hand to pour coffee. Even if there was the sound of pouring coffee in the recording, it couldn't prove who poured it on whom. However, this didn't stump Xiaomin. She came from the media and had a strong grasp of online trends. In her opinion, things would definitely be chaotic after the first few reversals were released. At this time, if a colleague stood up to defect, it would be an even more lively scandal. Whether she actively poured the coffee or not was no longer important. GZ's resources have been booming in recent years. The more glamorous she is, the more people hate her. In addition, she was indeed arrogant and domineering, and had offended many people. As soon as they see the benefits are about to collapse, people will definitely push the wall when it's falling down. Sure enough, it wasn't difficult to persuade a few colleagues to stand up and reveal the truth. Perhaps everyone had been enduring it for a long time. Therefore, Xiaomin was controlling the entire reversal and revelation rhythm. But there were also situations that Xiaomin and Yin didn't expect. That is, the person who secretly filmed the video in the cafe was really helping them from the heavens, and immediately helped them fill in the key evidence. Jiang Zhe, it's not that he wasn't affected at all. It's impossible to stay out of it. After all, he's the male protagonist of the incident. But he's from the Jiang family, and the Jiang family's power is too great for Xiaomin to touch, Yin said softly after taking a sip of coffee. If it wasn't for the fact that he can enjoy the cool under the big tree, do you think Xiaomin would let him go? Then she reminded Yuanzhou, don't provoke Jiang Zhe either. The fact that the brand behind GZ withdrew so quickly this time is probably related to the Jiang family. After all, she provoked the Jiang family, especially Jiang Zhe's mother. She can't stand female celebrities. Don't worry, as long as he doesn't harass you. If he keeps pestering you, I'll fight him to the end, even if it costs me my future, Yuanzhou said softly, but his attitude was very firm. Yin shook her head. He will definitely not let it go, unless Grandma Jiang personally agrees to call off the engagement, and after GZ made such a fuss, any socialite who wants to date him will have to think twice. It's not that easy to find a more suitable marriage partner. Yuanzhou leaned forward slightly, getting closer to her. Grandma Jiang wants to see me, right? I'll pay a formal visit and talk to the old lady about calling off the engagement between the two families. No matter how powerful their Jiang family is, they can't force people in this kind of thing. Once words of a forced marriage spread, the Jiang family will lose face. Don't go yet. Let this matter cool down. We're not unaware of Grandma Jiang's temper and personality. She's clearly stalling, whether it's for the sake of the relationship between the two families or for the sake of the Jiang family's face. If you force her at this time, Grandma Jiang may use morality to blackmail you instead. Yin was calm and pointed out the key. Yuanzhou wholeheartedly wanted to break away from the Jiang family, so he didn't think too deeply. After Yin reminded him, he realized that it was true. Jiang Zhe was deeply involved in a scandal with an actress, which was considered a stain on the Jiang family. If he forced Grandma Jiang to make a decision at this time, it would be equivalent to kicking someone when they're down. Maybe Grandma Jiang would strike first and use the long-term friendship between the two families as an excuse to ask the Yu family to fulfill the marriage contract at this time to help the Jiang family stand upright. This possibility is very high. In short, let's wait and see what happens. Yu Wanzhou had a social engagement tonight. Yunyan told him to drink as little as possible before leaving. When she entered the elevator, she didn't know who had put a Mickey Mouse helium balloon inside, stuck in the upper corner of the elevator. Yunyan didn't take it to heart and pressed the elevator button. Just as the elevator went down one floor, it stopped and a man came in from the outside. He stood in front of her and pressed the elevator button for the underground parking floor. Yunyan stepped back slightly, keeping a distance from the person in front of her. But that person turned around and looked at her. "Miss you?" She was slightly stunned and quickly became alert. "Who are you?" The man chuckled. "Miss you, I'm sorry." When Yunyan was 10 years old, she met a Yin. That year, Yin was just a boy. He had a very short buzz cut and was good-looking, but his face was stern and his eyes were particularly sharp. Her father brought him back to the Yu family. At the time, Yunyan thought he was also a child of the Yu family, just like when her father brought back Yuanzhou when she was very young. From that day on, she had another younger brother. Her father told her that a Yin was a bodyguard he had hired. The Yu family already had several bodyguards at that time. The Yu family had a large business in the Jiangnan area. Her father was low-key. Although he wasn't flashy in the business world, he secretly brought bodyguards with him. In addition, the bodyguards were also responsible for the protection of her mother, Yu Wanzhou, and Yunyan. Before Yin came to the Yu family, Yunyan had just experienced a dangerous situation where she was almost kidnapped by a death row inmate and held hostage. Two of the Yu family's bodyguards rushed over at the time, but the situation was so critical that they didn't dare to act rashly. Yunyan was very frightened and had a scratch mark on her neck.